Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another exciting episode of All About You. In today's segment, I will be showcasing my top 32 deck that I used at the Orlando celebration event. Now, unfortunately, it sucks because I didn't make top 16 to be able to play off that same day to have the opportunity to win it all. I ended up going X1, to be exact. I went 5 wins, 1 loss. I actually lost my first round to a bad matchup. My opponent actually came in second place in the first day on Saturday in the team event. His guys did phenomenal, but unfortunately he didn't do so hot at the main event. He was just there to suicide bomb and take me out, apparently. My luck. I lost against a Victory Strike slash Heightened Mastery deck. So primarily Victory Strike because the Heightened Mastery deck does not beat Janemba. It can beat Janemba, but it does not win for sure. But Victory Strike, if they keep you unawakened and you have no means of getting to be able to go into your flip side, you will probably auto lose. And it was funny because my opponent was like, this is my best matchup. That's what he told me before we started playing. And in my head, I'm just like, damn, but I was gonna try to still push his shit in, but it didn't happen. I ended up losing 2-1. He won 2 games to my 1. He won game 1, I won game 2, and then I got scooped up game 3. He won both games due to Victory Strike, and then the second game, the one game that I won, I was able to defend my life very well, bring out Veggie, and he was able to save the day, the Veggie that I'm running in the deck profile. Before we get into the deck profile, I do want to give Eon Hill a shout out. He ended up winning the whole event, the singles event. Phenomenal player, good friend of mine. He ended up taking my list, -1 card. He, instead of using triple trunks, which you're going to see in the deck, he ended up using 2 because he was only able to find 2 since he lent me some cards. So again, thank you, Eon. But he ended up playing a Xenos button. So that's pretty much it. This deck was very powerful. It ended up winning the event, even though I wasn't the one winning it. And you guys are going to enjoy the deck list. Here we go. All right, guys. So we have our Janemba leader, standard. Whenever he attacks, your opponent mills 2 cards from the top of their deck, and you draw 1 card. And then when he awakens, you can awaken at 4 or less life. You can untap 2 energy, and bam, you go into this menace. Now, just a heads up, you cannot run anything that's 5 or greater. So any card in your deck, you have to make sure that the energy cost is 4 or less, essentially. There was someone in Top Cut that ended up running a 7-drop card. He was running a Fu. And unfortunately, as players, we're used to paying 1 energy for Fu, and we sometimes forget that he's really a 7-drop. So, honest mistake, just don't let it happen. Now, in his Awakened side, he has auto, the same thing. You attack, you draw a card, and your opponent mills 2 cards. Additionally, he has 1 auto, which is amazing. When your opponent attacks you, you can pitch a blue card, in that case, negate the attack. It happens right after the counter timing. So counter timing occurs first, meaning that you could play a negate card, and if your opponent, like hypothetically, plays a bad ring, you can then use his effect and pitch a blue card. So you can safeguard yourself regardless of what your opponent does. Essentially, you like to be able to use this when it's very crucial. When your opponent's trying to scoop your shit up, you want to use that. So to start off the deck list, we ran 4 Bonds Burgos. So this guy, when you play him, you draw a card. Now, what makes him great is once per turn, during your opponent's turn, if they end up using a card to restand energy, like a Sensu Bean, Unyielding Trunks, using Shenron's effect, a 4-drop, in order to restand energy, you can choose one of their energies and discard it. Now, this does not affect awakening. So leaders that awaken and are able to restand energy, it does not affect. Moving forward, I'm going to go through the whole Janemba chain line that I ran. 4 Psyche Demon rocking out. I was testing this deck quite a bit with the Hilltwins and with a few of my other friends. Originally, I did not have this in the deck, but as I was playing, I decided, you know what? I'm going to run him. Now, a few people were against it. Actually, Eon was against running him in the beginning. His original deck list was different. He was running cards like Freehan, as you guys know, the guy that you can pay 1 energy and he comes into play, and he's a 3-drop. Again, that card is very good, but as I was testing, I ended up testing a few games with him and I just loved him. Like there was so many combinations I was able to do. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to main him. Even if some other people don't like him, I'm maining him. What's great about him is that he can search this guy, Childe's Heart Janemba. So similar to why I was running him, when he comes into play, you search the top 7 cards of your deck and you can grab any Janemba card and add it to your hand. Additionally, you can also search the bottom card of your deck, which is we're gonna get to that in a little bit. But this is the guy you want to see all the time. Some people were running 3 in their list. Some people didn't run him in their list. He's just extremely powerful. What he does is, for 1, evolve 2, you can evolve him over Psyche. He has barrier and he has an active main skill. You pay 1 blue. In that case, you can warp. You search your deck and you can warp a Janemba card. And by doing so, after you're done warping the Janemba card, you can put him to the bottom of your deck and then you add the Janemba that you warp into play. Or you can add any Janemba that's in your warp area and put into play. So you don't necessarily have to go for the one that you targeted off your deck if you have other targets or if you don't want to use his effect at all in terms of being able to search. We run the best card of the deck for Demon Sword Janemba. He is one of the main reasons why we play this deck. He has a critical deflect, so no bloodlust action, and then he has an active main. You can place him to the bottom of your deck. In that case, you can target one of your opponent's battle cards and warp it. Then they must mill 2 cards from the top of their deck. That's super powerful. So not only that you can mill them, but you can put them to the bottom, constantly reuse them. You could play a guy like this, play him, search the bottom of your deck, add him to your hand, and keep rinse and repeat using him. Or one of my favorites, you play him, you use his effect, top 7, you evolve, you do what you have to do, get your attacks in or whatever, use his skill, he goes to the bottom of the deck. So this guy is still in, we'll just pretend he's still in the deck. Then if you have another Psyche, you can play your Psyche, use his ability, grab him right back into your hand. So now you have already another evolve target, so you can potentially evolve the same turn depending on how much energy you have. And then you can still be using your effects to continually abuse Demon Sword. So there's just so many things you could do with this deck. There are some tips that I will have on my Patreon. So if you guys are interested, by all means, check it out. I'm going to show you better ways to play the deck, but we're going to try to keep this short for the video. I run 4 super combos. I chose North Kai, Keeping Watch. A lot of people chose the Gohan that has Sparking 5. Now, this deck is different from a lot of other decks, and it's because I run Overrealm. Most decks don't, and a lot of decks wanted to run Shenron. So my deck is different from your average Janemba deck, but it has some power. So instead, I chose to run this card because it just allows us to draw 1 card when we're at 4 less life. We don't have to worry so much about meeting a sparking effect other than Dimension Magic, which you only want to make sure you have 5 in the drop when you know you're in a situation where you're going to need to use it for free. Now moving forward, we run 1 Unyielding Spirit Trunks. It's 1 for a reason. I ended up going minus, unfortunately, because I ended up picking up a pole playset of level 2. So if you guys want to see this, really nice card, beautiful card, but it's very pricey. The card is already going for like $100+. So just be careful on it because they did get restricted to 1. Now, I have 3 all-inspiring Intimidator SSB Vegeta. So basically, this guy is our way to stay alive in the game. He's a 4-drop. When he comes into play, if you have 5 or more energy, you draw a card. While he is in rest position, he has barrier and the effect that your opponent cannot attack your leader card. He is the OG when it comes to all the newer cards that were brought out. Deadly Defenders, if you ever heard of those cards, he was the original Deadly Defender. And still one of the most powerful in the game. That's why I like him. And he's great against certain matchups, especially the matchups where your opponent's trying to scoop you up with a 1-turn kill combo. We run 3 Reality Bender Janembas. He actually is a part of the chain, but I have him separate because he's a card that we normally don't use unless our opponent meets the requirement. So for 1, he has critical and deflect, so those are always great stats to have. Now, permanent. If we do not control a battle card and our opponent has 4 or more energy with a battle card in play, you can play him for 1 energy. And if you play him for 1, it's amazing because 1 energy equates to being able to do some devastating combos and still being able to attack your opponent, put pressure, and then mill them out at the end of the turn. Now, I had an issue in Team Wars where my opponent ended up forgetting, which is all good. Mistakes happen. We both made a mistake by not realizing that he was in play. I ended up seeing him immediately, and I was like ready to, I charged my energy, drew for my turn, charged my energy, and then I played him. So my opponent had him still in play, and then I played him immediately. But it was so funny because we were in the moment, so we both forgot the fact that he has to go to the bottom of the deck. So when I played him, I was getting ready to attack my opponent, and then my opponent realized, wait, he was supposed to go to the bottom of the deck. So it was a weird scenario since this is an auto, so it's supposed to happen. It's a mandatory effect, but we both slipped on it. So I ended up calling judge, and they ended up giving a ruling that was okay. You know, I kind of wish the ruling was a little bit different, but essentially we had to just rewind time and go to the point where this card was no longer in play, and my opponent had to look at my hand and select a card out of it. Now, my opponent was very cool about it in the sense that he did not want to take a card out of my hand by looking at it. He just told the judge, hey, can I just do it at random? So I want to thank you for that because it would have been more unfair on my end if he would have been able to look at it. But ironically, he still took the key card I needed in my hand, and that was out of 8 cards. So I still ended up getting, I guess you could say, screwed over, but it's okay. It happens. Now, moving forward, we run this man. You guys know it. This is the guy I love. You all knew that I ran this in my Veggie Duck, the one that I created formats ago during the Genu format. He is amazing with this deck because you are able to, for one, get super combos, reuse your one-ofs like that. So it's very cool because you're able to abuse certain cards. But the most important thing about him is that you're able to warp some of your pieces and then use effects like this guy and always have targets despite wherever zone they may be at. Sometimes you may have these guys in your hand and you don't have any left in deck. So guys, as you know, like I said, you're able to get back whatever you want. He only costs 2 when you overwhelm him. And what's great is he has double strike. There aren't that many cards in this deck that have double strike. In fact, none of them do except for him. So he's also a win con outside of the other mandatory double strike that I run that I will be covering soon. Now we run 4 Sensubin, one of the best cards in the game. Can't wait to have this foil. We run 4 Dimension Magics. This is one of the best negates in the game. You negate your opponent and you can untap up to 2 of your blue energy. And what's great is sparking 5, if you have 5 cards in your drop zone, you are able to use this for free at the cost of a life. And you will be able to restand 2 free energy. I mainboarded 2 Mafuba. Mafuba came in clutch some matches, some not so much. It just depended. I ended up playing 3 mirror matches during the tournament, and I was able to beat all my mirror matches. Just some people got greedy and attacked me, and I Mafuba them, while others, they just made poor choices and attacked me with other cards that were key to their deck. And again, Mafuba held it down. I ran 2 Hidden Power East Supreme Kai. He is my double strike. So as you guys know, we have cards like Champa, you know, so Furthering Destruction if you haven't played during set 1. This guy is equivalent. However, you must declare your double strike with him. Eon actually made a mistake in one of his top cut matches against Justin Rios and ended up costing him the game. But Eon, again, was able to bounce back and ended up beating him in top 8. I ran 4 of the cells. All he is a standard pseudo combo. You pay 1, you draw 1, and it's 10k shield. And then I played the OG. That was the original version of this. So we play 8. This is standard. You pretty much will see this in all the deck lists. Now for the sideboard, I played 3 of our Ready Stance Son Goku. He's just a simple blocker that has barrier. Not much more to say other than that he can block and save your life when you need it. I ran 2 Haru-Harus against the Dende matchup. It was just to give me an advantage over them so I can just spam the board since they can't play Bloodlust, so they're pretty much free. Unfortunately, I played no Dendes, Was hoping to play Danny Height. Was hoping to play you, man. So I would have been able to scoop you up. But anyways, didn't happen. So my boy Eon had to scoop you up. Played 2 Sun striving to be the best. He's still very good. Very solid, except he lost a little playability due to the fact that Storm isn't as relevant. A lot of players are playing variants of Storm with the Broly leader. Essentially, all you're worried about is the 2-drop Goku and the little other gimmick 2-drops that they have that they can keep swapping into. So he holds it down, and he also prevents 1-drops from being able to awaken themselves. So anyone running Kaba, Trunks, Pan, all those nice 1-drops that put pressure and can help self-awaken, he says no to that. We ran 2 Dende, new to the job. He was basically for the Shenron matchup or any deck that ran Objection. I ran 2 Cronoa. She was just basically used for Shugesh, nothing else. 2 Kamis, explode the board, not much to say. As you can see, this board doesn't build board presence. It's mainly for the fact that I can mill and put a lot of pressure early on. And then last but not least, we played 2 Toki Toki Time Creator. This can search for this, this, and this. So essentially, she says I run 4 of everything in my sideboard. So that's great. It was a way for me to maximize my sideboard by technically running more cards than what I can run. So it's like a way for me to cheat my way of playing more cards in the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Again, shout outs to Eon Hill for dominating and going undefeated. He ended up getting a draw, but took it home, won it. And it was great. The attendance was phenomenal. In fact, there was a little too many people there. So I know Bandai, if you're watching this video, keep that in mind for future celebration events, especially the ones that you might be hosting next year. Because trust me, you guys are doing a phenomenal job and I want to see this game keep growing and improving. So guys, overall, I had an awesome time. I was able to meet a lot of fans of mine. Very good. If you guys ever see me at an event, don't hesitate to come to me. I may play the villain, but it's always fun to see you guys and talk ideas. And if you want me to sign anything, I'll be happy to do so. Thanks for watching. And as always, this channel is all about you.